Good evening, children.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, children.
Ma'am.
Good evening. Keep your answers ready with you. Meaning, keep the notebook ready with you. Let's see the answers to the test we took up on Sunday, last class on Sunday. So here, in the question, this instruction was different. But let's see the let's see if our answers match. This instruction was different in the paper which you saw on Sunday. This instruction was different. So this is what it is, taking 0 to 10 as the first class interval in 1 and 1 to 10 as the first class interval in 2. So when you're preparing the table for 1, then you need to take 0 to 10 as the first class interval. And when you are preparing the table for 2, you need to take 1 to 10 as the first class interval. So I must tell you know that this instruction was not clear in the paper on Sunday. So this is the instruction. Please tell me if the distribution is correct. So in the exclusive form, we have continuous class intervals. In the inclusive form, we have discontinuous class intervals. Both the lower limit and the upper limit will be included in the same class interval. Both the upper limit, inclusive form meaning, children, first tell me if our tables match. Do you all have the same answer?
Ma'am, I got the same answer.
Yeah, this is.
Ma'am?
Who was that?
Hitesh. Hitesh.
Hitesh. Okay, Hitesh. Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, me too, ma'am.
Shreyas.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Children, exclusive form meaning excluding the upper limits. Excluding the upper limits. That is in the class interval 0 to 10, the upper limit is excluded. That means it's not included in this class interval. It's included in the next class interval. Exclusive means continuous, children. Exclusive means continuous class intervals. Inclusive means discontinuous, not continuous class intervals. In the exclusive form, this should be the first class interval. So go with the rhythm 0 to 10. So it should be 10 to 20, 20 to 30. Why we stop with 40 to 50 is because we don't have values beyond 50. We don't have values beyond 50. So even if you maintain class intervals like 50 to 60, 60 to 70, the frequency will be 0. Since there's no value greater than 50, we stop here. 40 to 50 will be the last class interval. Here not continuous, so 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. What's a class size, children? In the second one, what is a class size?
I'm 10, ma'am. 10, ma'am.
Tell me the values that are included in 1 to 10.
Ma'am, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ma'am.
8, 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, ma'am.
We are talking about the second one, right? Inclusive form.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the class size is 10.
10, ma'am.
10 because, yeah, 10 because in the class interval 1 to 10, we can accommodate the integral values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Class size is the number of integral values, integer values. Class size is the number of integral values a class interval can hold. 1 to 10 is a class interval. How many integers are contained in this class interval? Integers only. 1 is included, 10 is also included. So when you use your fingers and count,
10
from 1 to
integers.
10, you get 10. You get 10, so the class size is 10. So when you subtract the upper limit and lower limit, so 10 minus 1, it's 9. To the difference, you add 1 always. Add 1 to the difference always. Like 20 minus 11. 20 minus 11 is 9. Add 1. 10 is the class size when it is not continuous. But in the exclusive form, just the difference will give you the class size. When it is continuous, simply 20 minus 10. 10 is the class size. When it is continuous, the difference will be the class size. 20 minus 10 or 30 minus 20. 10 is the class size. But when it is not continuous, the difference plus 1. The difference 30 minus 21 is 9 plus 1. 10 is the class size. When it is not continuous, add 1 to the difference. If it is continuous, the difference is the class size. The difference between the upper limit and the lower limit is the class size. You can count. So 20 to 30, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So we get 10 numbers, 10 integers, because 30 is not included in this class interval. It belongs to the next class interval. Okay, I want some more acknowledgements for this table, because even I can make mistakes. So somewhere have I gone wrong in the frequencies? Please tell me. Our tables match?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we need to make the class intervals continuous here. Read out the class intervals, one of you from your book.
Ma'am, 19.5 to 103.5
Very
is
good.
8. 103.5 to 107.5 is 8.
Very good.
107.5 to 111.5 is 17. 111.5 to 115.5 is 10. 115.5 to 119.5 is 5. 119.5 to 123.5 is 6, ma'am.
Very good, Hitesh. Very good.
Ma'am, the
Perfect.
same I too got, ma'am.
Very good, Shreyas. Very nice, both of you. Good, good. Look
I
at
also
the
think,
who was that?
Pratiksha, ma'am.
Pratiksha. Good, Pratiksha. Pratiksha, please announce your name, because sometimes I can, recognize the voices. At times I don't. So please don't mistake me. Yeah, good, Pratiksha. So here's the table for you. So you can ignore the spelling mistake between.
Ma'am, but I didn't write that half of difference is equal to 0.5. I just directly
Not
subtracted the first one.
I've just, yeah, that's enough. That should do. Simply the table should do. You don't have to give this explanation. Just in case students have forgotten, I thought this should be useful. That's all it is. Okay, so this is simple. So you can take up any two consecutive class intervals, and find the difference between the lower limit and the upper limit. The lower limit and the upper limit. So 112 minus 111 is 1. Divide by 2. 1 by 2, 0.5. So to all the lower limits, subtract 0.5. to all the upper limits, add.
Black one 0.5.
Yeah, correct, correct. What's the answer for this one? What is the new? What is the mean of the new set of observations?
Mean plus B plus minus C. ma'am.
A.
A plus B minus C. ma'am.
From where do you get addition? From where plus? The mean of a set of
Sorry,
observations.
ma'am, A into B minus C, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, A, B minus C. Yeah, A
Yes,
into
ma'am.
B minus C.
That decrease, I thought increase, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. I can't see.
Okay, okay. Good, good, Pranav. Very good.
Hmm.
So the mean, somebody's mic is enabled. Please disable your mic. The mean of a set of observations is A. If each observation is multiplied by B, we have seen the properties, children. So if each observation is multiplied by B, the mean is also multiplied by B. So the new mean becomes AB. See, the mean of a set of observations is A. The mean of a set of observations is A. Now to every observation, you're multiplying every observation by B. As it's given here, each observation is multiplied by B. Now, how is the mean affected? The mean, the new mean is also, the new mean will be the original mean into B. So the new mean will be AB. And each product is decreased by 2. So again, you're decreasing each observation by 2, by not 2, sorry, by C. And each product is decreased by C. So you're reducing every observation by C. So the new mean again will be reduced by C. It was earlier AB. Now it will be AB minus C. So find the mean of new set of observations. AB minus C. AB minus C.
Ma'am, this two I did directly, ma'am.
Yeah, AB minus C.
got-
Objective questions. Yes, yes. AB minus C will do.
I also got the same answer, ma'am.
Very nice. Hitesh and Shreyas, very good. Yes. What's the median? What's the value of the median? Yes, children, you
100,
have
ma'am. 100.
100.
2.006.
2.006. But there's only minus 2.006. There is no
Yes,
2 point.
Minus 2. Yes, ma'am. Minus 2.006.
Minus 2.006. Okay, how many of you agree with Pratiksha? Okay, now what is the algorithm like? How do we find the mean of a set of observations? What is the procedure?
Ma'am, if n is odd, then median is equal to n plus 1 divided by 2, ma'am.
Okay. N plus 1 by 2, observation, not n plus 1 by 2. When n
Yes,
is
ma'am.
odd, yeah, when n is odd, the value of the median will be n plus 1 by 2th observation. Perfect. Okay, when it's okay, so now it's odd here. That's how we find median. But before that, there's a very important step.
Ma'am, we have to arrange in ascending order.
Very good, Pratiksha. We need to arrange the observations in the ascending order, ascending or descending order. You'll have to arrange the data in the form of an array. That is either in the ascending or descending order. So we know when the numbers are negative, if it has a greater value, that's the smallest. Negative numbers. 10 is less than 100. 10 is less than 100. Minus 10 is greater than minus 100. You know that. I don't have to tell you, you know that. Minus 10 is greater than minus 100. Okay, so this is how we arrange the numbers. Tell me if I've arranged it correctly. So I get n5 and median is n plus 1 by 2th observation, 5 plus 1 by 2th observation. The third observation, which is minus 2.006. So make them like decimals in case you had, trouble in arranging them in the ascending order. These two numbers are positive. So let's deal with this later. These two are positive. Let's deal with this later, with these two later. Now between these two, between these three negative numbers, between these three, excuse me. Yeah, between these three negative numbers, children, how do we decide which is the least or which is the greatest? So make them like decimals.
Ma'am, I have doubt, ma'am.
Can I just finish?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can I finish? Yeah, I'll just finish this and you can get back. So now between these three negative numbers, between these three decimals, I'm sorry, make these three decimals like decimals. Like decimals meaning make sure that they have the same number of digits after the decimal point. Make sure that they have the same number of digits after the decimal point. So here we have 0.206. Here we have 0.060. Treat it as 0.060. Just add a 0 here. And this is 0.006. So here it is like 206. This is like 60. And this is like 6. Children, the excuse me. The value before the decimal point is -2. Everywhere it's -2. So you cannot compare looking at that. So let's use the digits after the decimal point. After the decimal point, we have 3 digits here. After the decimal point, only 2 digits. Let's make it 3. So 060, 060. And here, after the decimal point, 3 digits. So now these 3 digits read like 6. 006 is 6. And these 3 digits 060, 060 is 60, 060 is 60, and 206 is 206. So 6 is the smallest. Actually, 6 is the smallest, and then is 60, and then is 206. But when the numbers are negative, it's the other way around. 206 is the greatest, but minus 2.206 is the least. 60 is the greatest. 60 meaning 60 is greater than this one 6. What is the other way when you're dealing with negative numbers? So 6, okay. So 6 is the smallest, and then 60, and then 206. But since they're negative, the other way around. 206, 60, and then 6. And here also, if you look at the between these two numbers, after the decimal point, we have 4 digits here and 4 digits here. So this is 25 and this is 205. So obviously they're positive, so 205 is greater. So 2.0025 and then 2.0205. This is 205. See, make sure that they have the same number of digits after the decimal point. So 4 digits, 4 digits. So 25, 205. This is bigger. Yes, Pranav.
Ma'am, I have doubt, ma'am.
Yes, Pranav.
Ma'am, if it is 5 plus 1, no, ma'am.
Yeah.
For that, the observations are 6 observations, ma'am, and it is 6 plus 1, ma'am. It is how to find for odd numbers, how to find median. I forgot.
That's what. N is 5, right? Add 1 to 5.
Yes, ma'am. If it is 6, ma'am. If it is yes, 6, ma'am.
If it is 6, then the formula is n by 2th observation plus n by 2 plus 1th observation by 2.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
should find the mean of the two middle numbers. Like supposing you have 5 and 6 in the middle. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Supposing you have 5 and supposing it's the fourth observation. Okay, supposing you have two observations in the middle.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and their values like say 5 and 6. The median will be 5 plus 6 by 2. 5 plus 6 by 2. You should add the two middlemost observations and divide by
5.5, ma'am.
Yeah.
5.5 is the median, ma'am. Then.
Correct. Yeah, in that case, 5.5 will be the median. Correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Just a second. I'll unshare. Just a second. Yes, Pranav, you can just recall from this.
Ma'am, I will take a screenshot, ma'am. 1 minute.
Yeah, please do that. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. You can just see one answer like that. See here. Take a picture of this and help yourself.
Ma'am, took, ma'am.
Yeah. So we also say it's the mean of the, see here, it is, when we say mean of these two observations, that means you should add the two observations and divide by 2. When we say mean of, it means the sum of these two observations divided by 2. Here, it's the mean of the 5th and 6th observations. 5th and 6th. The 5th observation is 40 and the 6th is 44. So 40 plus 44 by 2. 84 by 2, 42 kgs is the median weight. Yeah, what's the value of the mode?
1 minute. Could you please show me the last slide, ma'am? Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. What's the value of the mode, children? What is the value of the mode? No. Am I audible, children? Am I not audible? It's okay if you don't.
You're
know.
audible.
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
What's the mode? Okay, which is the highest frequency?
8, ma'am. 8, ma'am.
What's the corresponding X value?
Ma'am, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
No. Which
17.
is the highest frequency?
Ma'am, highest
8,
frequency is 8, ma'am.
8. What's the corresponding X value?
Ma'am,
17.
17.
17 is the mode. The mode of the data is 17. Mode is the value which occurs most frequently.
Yes, ma'am.
The value that occurs most frequently.
Yes, ma'am.
The value that occurs most frequently is the mode. 8 is not the mode. 8 is the frequency. 8 says the number of times 17 happens in the data. There is no number like 8. 8 is 8 times. 17 happens. So see, the data is like this: 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. 12 happens 6 times. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. Then 13 happens 3 times. 13, 13, 13. 14 happens 4 times. 14, 14, 14, 14. And 17 happens 8 times. So 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. This is the raw data. This is the raw data. And that has been tabulated like this, showing the values, and their frequencies. How many times they repeat in the data. 10 repeats 5 times, 12 repeats 6 times, 13 repeats 3 times. So these are the values. These are the observations. There is nothing like 5 in the data. There is nothing like 6, or there's nothing like 8 or 3 or 4. These are the numbers that are happening in the data. 10, 12, 13, 14, and 17. 17 happens 8 times. So you can see the highest frequency is 8. And its corresponding X value is 17. So 17 is the mode. The mode of this data is 17, not 8. 8 is the number of times 17 happens in the data. So this is the value. The value of mode is 17. Supposing there are, supposing two values have the same highest frequency. Supposing the frequency of 12 also was 8. Supposing the frequency of 12 was also 8. Then it's called a bimodal data. Bimodal data. Then you must say both 12 and 17 are the modes of the data. Now don't ask me if there is 3, if there is 4, if there is 5. Yes, if there are, then you should reflect all those numbers.
Ma'am, it's like 3 model, ma'am.
Sorry?
It is like 3 model, ma'am. If it is 3, it is.
Yeah, that's what. If there are 3, if the highest frequency is 8, and there are 3 values with the same highest frequency 8, then all the 3 values represent the mode of the data. See, mode is an average which is used in a. See, now we have these 3 averages: mean, median, and mode. Now, when your school teacher wants to find your average marks in a particular test, she will use mean. She'll not use median or mode. Your school teacher, if she wants to find out, so you write exams in 6 subjects. So she'll add all and say every paper is for 100 marks. So she'll total all your subject marks and divide by 6. She'll total all the subject marks and she'll divide by 6. And supposing it turns out to be 84, that means your average score or average marks per subject is 84. You've written 6 exams for 100 marks. 100 marks each paper for 100 marks. 6 exams. And your teacher wants to find your average score. Average score per subject. So she'll total up all the 6 marks and divide by 6. and say she gets 84. Your average marks per subject is 84. That means on an average, you're able to score 84 marks per subject on an average. So that represents, that becomes a representative. Instead of, see, if you want to make a quick conversation with, okay, your teacher wants to quickly tell, about your performance to the principal. So your teacher wants to make it, so the teacher will not listen to the entire thing, in English, this, the so-and-so student has scored so many marks, Hindi, so many marks, social studies, so many marks. So then to make things, there are so many students in the school. Now the principal cannot listen to everything. So maybe a representative mark will be useful to make the conversation quick. All right. So now in this case, your teacher would have found, so if she wants to share something about your performance to the principal, she'll find the mean. She'll find your mean marks. And she will inform the principal that so-and-so students' average score per subject is 84. So the principal immediately gets an opinion about the student. Okay, so hardworking student. All of us are smart. All of us are smart. Marks show our efforts. So you've got 84, you're hardworking, you're responsible.
I get 100.
Very good. That means super, very good. You're very responsible. Okay. About your academics. Responsibility comes in many other things also. Academics is not the only thing in life, but that also is there. That's good. So yeah, so then that's when the teacher finds a mean, a quick impression about a student. 84, average marks 84. Okay, hardworking. All right, so like that, children. Now, when is mode used? When is mode used? So mode is used in mostly businesses, say like companies which manufacture shirts. So we have shirts sold in different sizes, right? So whatever, I don't know the unit, I'm not very sure about the unit, but maybe like 28, 28, 30. I'll just say the numbers. I'll not make a mess with the unit. So something like something like 30 shirt size, 32, 34, 36. So now supposing, okay, let us take the same thing, for example. Supposing these are the sizes, size 10, 12, 13, 14, and 17. Okay, these are the different sizes. We'll assume it's a business. It's a textile business, and these are the sizes of the shirts manufactured by that business, by that company. So this is shirt size. These are the shirt sizes 10, 12, 13, 14, and 17. Frequencies 8. And we'll just understand that these numbers reflect how much is sold. How much is sold? 5 pieces of this size 10, 6 pieces of size 12, 3 pieces of size 13, 4 pieces of size 14, and 8 pieces of size 17. Oh, that means this size is more in demand. 8 of them have purchased shirts of this size. That means it gives a hint to the company that it should focus on manufacturing or producing or making shirts of this size in large numbers, because this is the most sought after size. Many customers demand this size. The least sought after size is 13. The least one is 13, because see, only 3 of them have purchased shirt size 13. So from this, what we understand is, since the frequency is more here, the corresponding shirt size is more in demand. So this gives a hint to the company that it should focus more on producing, more of this shirt size. So mode as an average is used in businesses. Mode as an average. Mode is also an average. Your teacher will not use mode as a representative of your marks. She'll not use mode. That means she's partial. If suppose in all the subjects, I've scored less marks, and in one particular subject I've got 100. She will not tell the principal that I've got 100. That is my average score is 100. No, that's. So here, when it comes to marks and students, mode is not a representative. Mode cannot be a representative. Mean is a apt representative when it comes to finding the average marks of students. So when you have many observations with the same highest frequency, you have to write all of them. If 12, 13 and 17 have the frequency 8, then the mode of the data is 12, 13 and 17. Yes, what's the value of A? See, you need to get your your microphone fixed, because there's no point in an online meeting when you're not able to communicate. I'm not sure, or maybe if you turn it on, there's a lot of noise and so you don't want to disturb the class. I don't know the reason, but most of us don't participate. So very few, 2 to 3 students are active. And they keep the class lively and going, you know. If all of you muted at all times, my situation becomes very pathetic. So, you know, I have to pity myself. Okay, class, use the emoji, raise your hand. Deepika, Hitesh, Pranav Rajan, Nikita, Shreyas, Pratiksha, Vasudevan, Shivani, Ananya, Satvika and Tarun, are you there? Unmute yourself, Satvika and Tarun.
Yes, ma'am.
You're there, Tarun? Okay. Satvika?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Satvika, you heard me? I said use the emoji and raise your hand. Not able to use that option? Okay, there your hand goes up. Okay. All right, children. Yes, now I want you to share the answer for this one. What is the value of A?
Ma'am, I didn't complete it fully because I had a doubt in my answer. I'll say my steps. Can you say me it's right, ma'am?
No, okay, but anybody with the final answer, the value of A and the frequencies? Okay, children, have a look at the answer and get your doubts clarified. Please go through the answer completely. Work it out in your book. I think. Yes, Hitesh, yes, since you were trying to answer, tell me, Hitesh, where did you go wrong?
Ma'am, I didn't go wrong, ma'am. I was having a doubt, is it right or wrong? So I stopped it in half itself, ma'am.
Oh, okay, okay. So how far have you finished? How far have you finished?
I found that sigma fi and in the sigma fi, ma'am.
Okay, okay, good, good. Anyways, your effort to that extent is appreciated. Good, Hitesh. Look through the complete answer and see if you understand it. All
Yes,
others, children, yes, children, please go through the answer and get your doubts clarified. All of you work it now. I'll wait for 5 minutes. Please complete it now in your book. Important question. As you work this, children, I'll just take 2 minutes. I'll get back.
Understood, ma'am.
Yes, children. Do we understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need to generate this FI XI column. The xi and fi column given to us, these are the class marks actually. These are the class marks, and we have the frequencies given alongside. So to use the formula, we need to prepare this column, fi xi column. 10 into 17, 170. 30 into 5a plus 3. So it will be 30 into 5a, 150a. 30 into 3, 90. Plus 90. Then 50 into 32, 1600. 70 into 7a minus 11. So this will be in bracket. 70 into 7a minus 11. So 70 into 7a is 490a. 70 into minus 11 is minus 770. 90 into 19 is 1710. Now simplify only the numbers. 170 plus 90 plus 1600 minus 770 plus 1017 plus 1710. That should give you plus 2800. Now these A terms, 150A and 490A, both positive. Plus 150A plus 490A, both positive. So 640A. 640A. AA, they're like terms. 490A plus 150A is 640A. And these numbers, when simplified, you get a positive 2800. So 640A plus 2800 or 2800 plus 640A.
Ma'am, I can't understand it. Once again, you can say, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Which part you don't understand?
Ma'am, how did you plus and find 12a plus 60 and 640 plus 280?
Let's do it. Okay, then we'll do together. What is 170 plus 90?
Ma'am, 1 minute.
260, ma'am.
Okay, 260 plus 1600. Okay, see, I'll use a calculator, Pranav. See, I'm using 170 plus 90. I get 2060. 260. 260 plus 1600.
Ma'am, 1460, ma'am.
1 minute, I didn't get that. Let me do it. Let me do it, children. See, I'm using a calculator. Let me do it. 170 plus 90. 260. 260 plus 1600. 1860. 1860 minus 770. 1090. 1090 plus 1710 is 2800. It's simply 2800, so it's plus 2800. Pranav? Okay, Pranav was engrossed calculating. Fine. And then 150A plus 490A is 640A. And the FI column, 17 plus 3, 20, 20 plus 32, 52, 52 minus 11, 41, 41 plus 19 is 60. 60, so plus 60. 5A plus 7A. 5A because the sign is what use, the sign is prefixed like it's plus 5A. 5A has a positive sign, plus 5A, and 7A positive, plus 7A. So plus 12A. Now here's the formula to find mean. X bar is equal to sigma fi xi by sigma fi. Mean is given to be 50. So simply substitute the expressions, cross multiply, and yes, you know the rest. The rest of it, you know, find the value of A. And once you find the value of A, you need to find the frequency of the class mark 30 and 70. So 5 into 5, 25 plus 3, 28. 7 into 5, 35 minus 11, 24 are the required frequencies. I mixed a few simple ones with these so that, you know, it doesn't get really difficult for you. Difficulty is only in difficulty. I'm saying the difficulty of the degree of carefulness. Everything is, these are familiar to you. It's not a new concept. When I say difficulty, that degree of, you know, carefulness, you need to be very careful while working, while performing the calculations. What's the ratio? Okay.
Is it 2:1?
Yeah, it's 2:1, Pratiksha. It is 2:1. How many boys? Your ratio is right, Pratiksha, 2:1. Class, I want you to write down this in your book. I'll explain it. Please write down your book. Finish writing, children. I must have done a similar one in the class. Yes, I think we have done a similar one in the class. Let me go back to that slide on to that PPT on statistics and pick out that question so that you can help yourself with this. I hope you finished writing. We'll go back. I'll take you back to that question on statistics. Sorry, that question in that particular chapter, statistics. I'll pick this question from there so you can help yourself. Yes, children, I need to discuss all these answers in today's class. See the 8th one. Is this correct? Is the representation correct?
No, ma'am.
Why? Quickly, why?
Ma'am, because the class intervals are different, ma'am. They should give a more gap between the bar graphs, ma'am. So they have to give more gap, ma'am, but
No.
they are not giving.
No, in very simple words, bar graph will not have, this is not a bar graph, it's a histogram.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because the graphical representation of a frequency distribution is a histogram. The graphical representation of a frequency distribution. That is a table showing class intervals and frequencies. A table showing class intervals and frequencies is a frequency table or a frequency distribution. The pictorial or the graphical representation of a frequency distribution is a histogram. And the rectangles in a histogram are closely packed. They don't have gap between them. There is no space between any two consecutive rectangles. Okay, so because
Ma'am, they didn't give an equal correct space between, ma'am.
Correct. The class size is not uniform. So we need to find the adjusted frequencies and then put up the histogram. Since the class size 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 100. So here it's in the first, second, and third, the class size is 20, while in the last one it is 40. So you need to find the adjusted frequency for this one. So that's
Is 60 to 80 and 80 to 110, ma'am.
no, you should find the correct frequency. You should find the adjusted frequency for the class interval 60 to 100. How do we do that, children? Can you recall? How do we find the adjusted frequency? What's the minimum class size?
$20, ma'am.
Minimum class size is 20.
Yes, ma'am.
But in 60 to 100, the class size is 40.
Ma'am, 40.
Yeah. How do you find the adjusted frequency?
Ma'am, 2 divided by 20 into 10, ma'am.
Ma'am, minimum class size by the actual class size into the frequency.
Minimum class size by the actual class size into the frequency. Perfect. So it will be 12.5. Correct? Correct, Pratiksha. You were right. So the frequency will be 12.5 and not 25. So you need to find the adjusted frequency and then put up the histogram. What's area of the rhombus?
Ma'am, this one we have to do with
we can find this using half into D1 to D2, ma'am.
Yeah, any formula. If nothing is mentioned, any formula. Half D1, D2.
Ma'am, then that's 12 centimeter square.
Yeah, 12.
I too got the same, ma'am.
Very good. 12 centimeters square. Yes, what's the area of the rhombus? So using the perimeter of the rhombus is given. So using that, you can find the side. You can find the length of each side of the rhombus. Each side measures 36.5 centimeters. And there is the length of one diagonal given. One of the diagonals measured 55 centimeters. But we know the diagonals bisect each other at right angles. See here. ABCD is a rhombus. Diagonals AC and BD, they bisect at right angles at O. From the perimeter, we find the side of the rhombus, 36.5 centimeters. The length of one of its diagonals, you can take any one, AC or BD. One of the diagonals measure 55 centimeters. 55 centimeters. So half of 55 is 27.5. So 27.5. OD is 27.5. OB is 27.5. So now to find the length of the other diagonal, we're going to take up this triangle. We're going to take up this right triangle, use Pythagoras theorem, which is the hypotenuse, children, in this one. In this triangle, which is the hypotenuse?
AB.
AB is the hypotenuse. Why?
Just the base.
How do you recognize AB as the hypotenuse?
It is the longest side of the triangle.
No, a
It is
different
the
answer.
right angle, ma'am.
It is?
Right angle.
No. How do you
It is
recognize?
the base, ma'am.
It is the opposite.
Yeah,
Just
it is
the
the
base.
opposite.
Opposite to right angle, ma'am.
Correct. The side opposite of the right angle is the hypotenuse. The side opposite of the right angle. This is the right angle. The side opposite of the right angle. The side opposite of the right angle is the hypotenuse. So this is the hypotenuse. In this triangle, in this right triangle, it's a rhombus. So the diagonals bisect at right angles, which means AOB is a right triangle. This is a right triangle. This one is a right triangle. This is also a right triangle. You can take up any one of these four right triangles. So in right triangle AOB, this is the hypotenuse. You know the length of OB, 27.5 centimeters. You need to find AO using Pythagoras theorem. So what does it go by the theorem? OA square plus
OA square plus AB square. OA square is equal to AB square plus BO square, ma'am.
Wrong.
And AB square is equal to AO square plus OB square, ma'am.
Why Pranav? Suddenly you change your mind?
Ma'am, because B is the hypotenuse, ma'am, and OA and OB is the opposite angles, ma'am.
Correct. They are the legs. Correct. AB is a hypotenuse. You should square that separately. So OA square plus OB square is equal to AB square. OA square plus OB square is equal to AB square. You should square the hypotenuse separately. AB is the hypotenuse. Square that separately. OA square plus OB square is equal to AB square. So using that, so AO square we don't know. OA square or AO square both are the same. We don't know this. Plus OB is 27.5. The whole square is equal to 36.5 the whole square. See, you can do it in the regular way, like you can you can square and find the value of this, square and find the value of this, subtract, and the usual procedure. Subtract and then take the square root. That's fine. I have used the identity A squared minus B squared. I have used the identity a squared minus b squared. See, here AO square is equal to 36.5 the whole square minus 27.5 the whole square. So I've used the identity a square minus b square is a plus b into a minus b. 36.5 plus 27.5 into 36.5 minus 27.5. A plus b into a minus b. So a plus b is 64. A minus b is 9. So AO square is equal to 64 into 9. AO is equal to square root of 64 into 9. The square root of 64 is 8. Square root of 9 is 3. 8 3s are 24. Even if you had squared this and then found the difference, you would have got 576. If supposing you found the square of this number, and then you took the difference, you would have got AO square is equal to 576. AO is equal to square root of 576. AO is equal to 24. Any questions regarding this working?
No, ma'am.
All right. So transpose, and it looks like a square minus b square, where a is 36.5 and b is 27.5. So a plus b into a minus b. A square minus b square is equal to a plus b into a minus b. When you add these two numbers, you get 64. When you subtract, when you find the difference between these two numbers, you get 9. AO square is 64 into 9. AO is equal to square root of 64 into 9. AO is equal to 24. So now AC. AO is half the length of the other diagonal. AO is half the length of the other diagonal. So double it to get AC. AC is equal to twice AO, because AO is half of AC. So AC is equal to twice AO. AC is equal to 2 into 24, 48 centimeters. Now the area of the rhombus is equal to half product of diagonals, half AC into BD, half into 48 we just found. 55 was given to us in the question. And the area of the rhombus is 1320 centimeters squared. Any questions, children?
No, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, what's the area of the trapezium? What's the height of the trapezium?
Ma'am, 12, ma'am.
12. Height of the trapezium is 12.
Yes, ma'am.
No, the height is PQ. 12 is not. Which are the parallel sides, Pranav?
Ma'am, PS and PQ. Ma'am, PS and PQ, ma'am.
PS and PQ are the parallel sides?
Ma'am, the height is SQ.
No. Don't change your mind. 1 minute. Answer this question. Which are the parallel sides of the trapezium?
Ma'am, parallel side of the trapezium.
Which two opposite sides are parallel? Which two opposite sides are parallel?
No sides are parallel.
But it's given it's a trapezium, no? Find the area of the trapezium PQRS. It's given it's a trapezium. So from the figure, you should be able to say the parallel sides.
PS and RQ.
Yeah?
PS and RQ.
PS and RQ. PS and RQ, because the other two sides are not parallel, they are intersecting sides. See it? SR and PQ, if you produce them, if you produce SR, and when you produce PQ, they'll meet somewhere. So SR and PQ are intersecting sites. They don't intersect in this figure, but they will intersect when produced. SR and PQ are intersecting sites. When you produce them in this direction, they're going to meet somewhere. But now you will ask me, then how do you know that these two will not meet? See, it's given it's a trapezium, children. It's a trapezium. These two are, if I say that these two sides are parallel, you will leave the meeting. So these two are not the parallel sides. PS and so we have only two pairs of opposite sides. RS is not parallel to PQ, then RQ has to be parallel to SP because it's given it's a trapezium.
And what is the base of the trapezium?
Why do you want the base of the trapezium?
Ma'am, is both base and parallel sides are same, ma'am?
No, nothing. No. So, see, this term base can be applied to any side.
Yes, ma'am.
Any side. Base need not be PQ.
Yes,
Identify trapezium using these words: parallel sides, non-parallel sides, and height. You don't have to worry about the base. Base sometimes applies to any side of the trapezium. Need not be PQ because it stands on PQ. Now we say,
yes, ma'am.
for a triangle, we say half base into height. So half base into height, you can take any side of you can take any side as the base with its corresponding height. Base is not any one side of the figure. Yeah. What's the height of the trapezium?
Twelve.
12, yes. And you should have got 12 working like this. Not the 12 which is there. SP is 12, not that one. You must draw a perpendicular between the parallel sides.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Ma'am, I didn't do like this, but I got the same area, ma'am. I divided it to a triangle and rectangle, ma'am. And I did it. I also got the same area, ma'am.
Just read out what you did. Meaning you
Ma'am,
found the area of the rectangle. What's the area of the rectangle?
Rectangle is 84, ma'am.
Rectangle is 84. 7 into what you did?
7 into 12, ma'am.
How did you take 12 there for PQ?
Sorry, ma'am, I did a wrong thing. 1 second.
Yeah. But here, coincidentally, RT is also 12. So your answer may be right, but you cannot just take PQ as 12. Okay, so children, you need to draw RT perpendicular. You need to draw RT perpendicular to SP. You need to draw RT perpendicular to SP. So this is a right triangle by construction. This full thing is 12 and this is 7. So 12 minus 7, this will be 5. ST is 5. ST is 5 because when this is 7, this also is 7. TP is also 7. RQ is 7. So the opposite side TP is also 7. So this remaining part will be 12 minus 7, 5. So in this right triangle, you know that this is 5 and the hypotenuse is 13. So find TR using Pythagoras theorem. Why PQ is equal to RT? PQ is equal to RT because they're the opposite sides of the rectangle. So we need to find PQ. In order to find PQ, we find RT. We find RT. Once you find RT, PQ is also the same. PQ is equal to RT. Opposite sides of the rectangle. This is a rectangle. This one becomes a rectangle. After this construction, this becomes a rectangle. Okay, so this is 7. This full thing is 12. So 12 minus 7, this is 5. This is 5. Now in this triangle, in this right triangle by Pythagoras theorem, we find RT. RT is 12 meters. And area of the trapezium is half sum of the parallel sides. Parallel sides 12 plus 7 into distance between them 12. Since I'm not getting responses, I don't want to waste your time also. Let me show you the answer. And I'll just talk about whatever needs an explanation. So here, you should have found the semi-perimeter and then the area of the triangle using the formula, Heron's formula. So till here should be fine. So after this, how to proceed? The numbers are under the square root. The numbers are under the square root. So you can do this. See, either you can write 10.5 straight away as 3.5 into 3, if you realize that. If you realize 10.5 is 3.5 into 3, you can write 10.5 as 3.5 into 3. So you will get two 3.5s under the square root. So one of it will come out. And then 3.5 into 3. So 3 and 3, 2 3s, 1 3 will come out. And then there is a 4 here. So 2 into 2, so 2 comes out. So you can do that straight away. You don't have to shift the decimal point and all that. Just in case you don't realize, then we have to do like this. 10.5 is 3.5 into 3. 3.5 into 3. So there are two 3.5s. One of it will come out. 2 3s, 1 3 comes out. And there's a 4 here. 2 into 2. So 1 2 will come out. That's it. Otherwise, you can do it like this. 10.5 is 105 by 10. 3.5 is 35 by 10. Like this we have. So now we have two 10s in the denominator. So 1 10 comes out. It should be in the denominator. So we write it as 1 by 10. Two 10s in the denominator. So 1 comes out. So 1 by 10 in the denominator. So 1 by 10. Square root of 105 is 3 into 35. This 3 as it is. 35 as it is because we have a 35. So another 35. Two 35s. And then 4 is 2 into 2. So now 2 2s, 1 2 comes out. All these numbers are in the numerator. 2 3s, 1 3 comes out. 2 35s, 1 35 out. And then area is 21 centimeters square. Area of the parallelogram is equal to the area of the triangle. It's given. It's given the area of the triangle and the parallelogram are the same. So 21. Parallelogram's area is also 21. Base into height is equal to 21. So we need to, this is the parallelogram. BCED is the parallelogram and DF is the altitude. DF is the altitude. It falls on the side BC. So we take BC as the base. See, the parallelogram is BCED. This one. This is the parallelogram. See, I'm tracing the parallelogram. I'm tracing. I'm going over the sides of the parallelogram. This is the height. DF is the altitude. I think this should help Pranam. So DF is the altitude on which side BC. So we take BC as the base. BC becomes the BC now is called as the base because there's an altitude falling on that side. So we call that as a base. So DF is the altitude DF is the altitude of the parallelogram BCED. DF is the altitude. So base into height, BC. The altitude DF falls on BC. So BC into DF, base into height. Picture, in case you have not completed. We have done a similar sum, just that this one involves decimal numbers. This is a question from NCERT. The numbers are different here. The measures of the sides are different. Otherwise, it's a direct question from NCERT. And we have worked one like this in the class. So this figure is made up of a square and an isosceles triangle. I've just worked this differently. I've used a formula for both square and isosceles triangle. I've used the formula to see here. You need to find the area of the figure. The figure is made up of two plane figures, one square and the other is an isosceles triangle. So with the given information, we can find their area using the formula. Area of the square, area of square PQRS plus area of isosceles triangle RUV will give us the area of the figure, the kite. Area of the figure meaning the area of the kite. The area of the kite. The area of the kite is area of the square plus the area of the isosceles triangle. Area of the kite is the area of the square plus the area of the isosceles triangle. Now, when the diagonal is given, this is the formula to find the area of a square, half d square. Half d square. To find the diagonal, to find the area of the square. Area of square, formula half d square, half diagonal square. When you know the diagonal, when you know the side of the square, then it is side into side, side square. When you know the side of the square, then area can be calculated using side square, side into side. We know the diagonal here, half d square, half diagonal square. And the area, the formula to find the area of an isosceles triangle is base by 4. Base is not any of the equal sides. So base by 4 into square root of 4 times the square of the equal side minus base square. Or 4 into equal side the whole square minus base square. Just substitute, that's all. Simply put the values now. So half 40 square plus base by 4. Base is not any of the equal sides. So 6 is the base. Because 4, they're equal. These two sides are equal. So this is that other side which is not equal to anything. That is the base in an isosceles triangle. I have told you this. So 6 by 4. Square root of 4 into equal side square. 4 into equal side square. 4 square. Equal side 4. So 4 square minus base square 6 square. So when you simplify this, you get in the bracket here, the simplification 4 square is 16 and then 16 into 4 is 64. 64 minus 36 is 28. 28 can be written as 7 into 4. So 4 is 2 into 2. So 1, 2 comes out. 2 root 7. 2 and 2 gets cancelled. So 3 root 7. The area of the isosceles triangle is 3 root 7. Well, the area of the square is 800. 800 plus 3 root 7 centimeter square is the area of the kite. You must remember this formula. Objective questions. They'll give you 4 options or 4 expressions for the area of an isosceles triangle. You will be expected to choose the correct option. Base by 4. Base by 4, that is that unequal side. Base by 4 into square root of 4 times equal side square minus base square. Base by 4, square root of, there's 4 here, no, the same 4 here. Base by 4, 4 into. Here you already written base, so start with equal side square minus base square again. Yes, if the sides of a triangle are quadruplet, what's the percentage increase in area? Should I write down? We have seen 2 like this in the class when the sides are doubled. When the sides are doubled, and then I think an equilateral triangle where the sides are tripled. So I thought I'll give you one like this when it's quadruplet. When the sides are doubled, the area increases by 300%. And for an equilateral triangle, when the sides are tripled, the area increases by 800%. These results you'll have to remember. Objective questions, if you remember the results, you can straightly, select the correct option and proceed. Otherwise, you have to work. You spend time working. These are standard results. A scalene triangle, when the sides are doubled, the area increases by 300%. Equilateral triangle, when the sides are tripled, area increases by 800%. In this case, the area, the percentage increases 1500%. So you take the efforts to understand this, and in the next class, if you want me to explain this, I can do it. But before that, I want you to try it, because we have done 2 like this in the class. I told you, no? So you take the efforts, try to understand the answer. Just in case you have any questions, you can ask me in the next class. Or now, if you've gone through the working and if you have some questions, you can get it clarified now, children. All right. Looks like you've all not completed. The sides of a triangle are 11, 60, and 61. Find the altitude of the smallest side. Find the altitude on the smallest side. So that means you should take the smallest side as a base and find the corresponding altitude. You should find the area using Heron's formula. Find the area using Heron's formula. Yes, Pratiksha?
No, I told the smallest side is 60.
Very good. Very good. Find the area using Heron's formula. 330 centimeters square. So half base into height is equal to 330. Which one? We have to find the altitude. That is h is to be found. Find the altitude. So we have to find h. So which to take as a base? Find the altitude on the smallest side. So you should take the small. You're asked to take the smallest side as a base.
Altitude is height only, no, ma'am.
Altitude is?
Height, ma'am.
Yeah. Altitude
Yes.
refers to height. Yes. Find the altitude of on the shortest side or the smallest side. So take the smallest side as a base and find the corresponding altitude. Anyone could find the value of x? See here. So the sides of the triangle are given in terms of x and the area also in terms of x. We need to find the value of x. So first semi-perimeter, 2x, area is equal to the formula s into s minus a, s minus b, s minus c. So be careful while writing s minus a, s minus b, s minus c because s is 2x, 2x minus x, then 2x minus x plus 1, but make sure you write x plus 1 in a bracket. Then again 2x minus 1 in a bracket. Then when you open the bracket, because s minus a, s minus b, s minus c. So 2x minus x, this one becomes 2x minus x minus 1, 2x minus 2x plus 1. The area is given to be x root 10. The area is given to be x root 10. So under area, write area is x root 10. And here 2x into 2x minus x is x. Here 2x minus x is x, x minus 1. And here 2x minus 2x gets cancelled, it's 1. Of these two x's, 1x comes out of the square root. So under the square root you have 2. From these two x, 1x comes out. So 2 x minus 1. You can ignore this one. So x minus 1. Now to get rid of the square root, square on both the sides. You can cancel the x and x. This x and x on either side gets cancelled. X and x gets cancelled. Square on both the sides. So x is cancelled. So when you square this, you'll get 10 is equal to x has been cancelled out. When you square this, the square root is eliminated. The square root will go away. So you will get 2 into x minus 1. X and x will get cancelled. Square on both the sides. So
Why you mean my square on both sides, ma'am?
To get rid of the square root symbol.
Yes,
so that
ma'am.
you free the terms from the square root. So x and x will get cancelled. Square root of 10 is equal to square root of 2 of x minus 1. So when you square on both the sides, the square root is eliminated. So you get 10 is equal to, see x is gone children, x is gone, x and x is gone on both the sides. You have root 10, when you square it, it's 10 is equal to You have root of this one. When you square it, the root is gone. The square root is gone. So 2 into x minus 1. On solving this, you get x is 6. This one I told you in the last class. I explained this in the last class. You can take a picture of the answer. I explained this in the last class. Go through the working. You can ask me your questions. Class, lower your hands. All right. So now at the end of the class, we have Tarun, Shivani, Satvika, Pranav, Pratiksha, Vasudevan, Deepika, Ananya, and Hitesh. Shreyas is not there. Who's the other one? Okay. All right, children, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, that's it for today's session. If you have no questions, you may leave the meeting. Thank you, children.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children. Thank you.